Alright, so I have made the biggest blunder of this entire recording, and I failed to actually record audio separately, and I was trusting that my Mac would do that for me, and it didn't do it very well. So the audio in this interview is not very good. I got in touch with Quintin over at Middleton Knives, and got a nice conversation with him about his knives, about his Echo line, and it was a really cool conversation. So you guys will see that in just a second here. It's a kind of a long conversation, so it's full on. There's no edits in this conversation at all, so you guys are gonna hear his perspective on his knives. It was a really pleasant talk, and he's a really cool guy. He's made some really nice knives, and I'll talk about the knives at the end of the video. But this is a little different than what I'm doing. I am trying to, kind of expand a little bit here and, meet more knife makers. And so this is just my first attempt. This is going to be the last time you guys will see audio and video quality this poor, but there's always a learning curve here. I'm not perfect at anything. So the interview you guys are going to see with he and I on the phone, and I was on my computer, he was on his phone, completely unedited. Everything is there.
And this is my daughter's room, so like.
Oh, okay. How old's your daughter?
She is 6.
Okay. How many kids?
2, boy and a girl, Michael and Layla.
Okay. How old's Michael?
Michael is 7.
Oh, okay. So, are you done with kids?
Huh?
Are you done with kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So very good. I've got Quintin over at Middleton Knives here with me, and so Quintin, thank you for taking the call. And so I don't. This is a policy I don't normally break, and I don't like to talk to makers of knives that I review, mainly because if I were to say anything negative or positive, it might kind of get out before my reviews get out, and there can be some sort of conflict of interest that could happen. But I wanted to talk to you because I normally don't give bad reviews, and so I got your knives, and I don't like them very much, and so kind of want to talk to you about it before I put the review out.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I love your knives.
Man, you almost hurt my heart, man. Don't do that, man.
I'm a nice guy. But I want to be honest. I don't know a thing about you. One of the things that I am really trying to change is I'm trying to research knives and people that I talk to a little bit more, but I just don't make the time for that. So I want to apologize. I don't know a single thing about you other than your name and Middleton Knives. So kind of just give me a little bit of background about yourself. Growing up, how you got into knives, and kind of where you're, the progression of where you started and how it kind of brought you to where you are today.
Okay, yeah. I've been making knives for going on 15 years. My mentor is Jason Knight. He was one of the judges on Forge and Fire like a few seasons ago. I started making hunting knives, bowie knives, swords, and then I had a dream. God told me to make chef knives, and I just kind of just fall in that direction. I did a lot of researching. I found out about Bob Kramer and Michael Rader, Bill Burks, like a lot of the people that's have been making chef knives way before me, and I kind of copied them, and it just I just learned over the years. And Middleton Made Knives has been in business for about going on 8 years or so.
Okay, 8 years. Okay, so what was it like making your first knife? I mean, how do you train yourself to actually make your first knife?
Well, from going from hunting knives and swords to making chef knives, it's a huge learning curve because the angles is so steep, and so you have to grind knives way thinner than than hunting knife or a bowie knife or a sword. So you really have to pay attention on the profiles and the angles that you're on. So it's a big learning curve because a lot of people from the hunting knives and that are making hunting knives and swords and bowie knives to making chef knives, it's like they kind of get hung up a little bit because their knives tend to be a little bit heavier than what it should be. So sometimes you just need to take the time out and research knives and basically look them up and play around, I guess.
Yeah. So you started making hunting knives?
Yes.
Okay. So how long are you making kitchen knives?
I've been making kitchen knives for 8 years.
Oh, 8 years. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but you've been making knives for 15 years. So for
Yeah.
7 odd years, you made hunting knives before that. That's what it started.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so why the transition from hunting knives to kitchen knives?
Well, after I had the dream, and the mindset went into from hunting knives. It's seasonal, like or people would do it for hobbies or they collect it for hobbies, and I wanted to deal with professionals, like so something that I can make a business and that people can get my product all the time or basically I can make money off of.
Mm-hmm.
Like make a business.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with making hunting knives and things like that, but I wanted to do something that will be sustainable.
Okay. And so you were finding that hunting knives was not able to sustain your family, your.
Well, no, it probably would, but this is what I decided.
Okay. So tell me about your dream. Like God spoke to you. I mean, I'm a believer as well. So
Okay.
I love hearing things like that. So tell me about what was that dream like? Like did it happen in a dream? Then you woke up and you remember the dream, or did it happen and then you just? I just want to hear what that was like.
Yeah. Basically the dream was it was like it was like after you wake up from a dream, like it. I didn't remember the dream at all. It was just like a voice that just kind of echoed, and in my head it was just something simple, very simple. It said make chef knives, and like once I did that, I made a long list of every top chef in Charleston. I called every last one of them. I tried to sell them a knife,
Mm-hmm.
and every last one of them turned me down. And then that same voice came to me to call one individual back and to ask them to help me develop a knife.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is Craig Deal. He was an executive chef at Cypress, but that place is closed down since. But he helped me he was very instrumental in my beginning development of making kitchen cutlery.
Okay. So your very first chef knife. I mean, I'll get to I'll get to your knife that I have here, the Echo, which I think is a fantastic knife. But tell me about the differences between that very first chef knife and how long it took for you to actually get to where you are now in terms of what I'm holding and some of the designs that that you're actually putting out.
Yeah. Like when I first made a chef knife, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was super. But like looking at it now, like it was so thick and it was so heavy. It reminded me of an axe, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like because I didn't really understand the proportions, and I'm thinking of hunting knife, and like so. And when he was kind of nice about it. When I'm talking about Craig, he was nice about it, like, oh, that's a nice knife.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Like, but he kind of put me to the side, like, man, this is too thick. This is too heavy.
Yeah.
I'm going to get tired using this knife. And like so, he gave me his input about what he would want in using every day, and I would make a knife for him, and he would use it for like 3 weeks, and he would give me his critiques about it, and we just kind of ran from there, and word of mouth just kind of traveled. I've been in Garden and Gun, I've been in mentioned in GQ, I've been featured in Ebony, Food and Wine magazine, Savoir. I've been all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And to getting to the Echo, like if you look at my knife, it's a very simple design.
Mm-hmm.
Like but when you hold on to it, like you say, like, wow, he really thought this through. Like where the handle shape is almost like a Coke bottle shape,
Mm-hmm.
like where it conforms to your hand. And also a lot of times personal chefs hug up on the knife or they pinch that knife, and a lot of knives are square and boxy right underneath that heel.
Yep.
Like so, I put that notch there so you can control it better. And also it distal tapers and it feels like it's really really light, but it's super strong.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that was where I actually wanted to kind of examine your knife here. I have the Echo here. This is a chef knife, and when I first held it, I've had it now for a little over a week, close to 2 weeks now at this point. But there are two things that really stood out to me, and something that I think I want to commend you on. Well, maybe three things. The first is the distal taper. I mean, you have a very aggressive. You're looking at probably what 2.5 to maybe 2.7 inch millimeter spine at the very base level, and then you have a very aggressive taper up to about I would say even half the knife. The taper starts pretty aggressively, right? That's number one. The second thing I noticed here is actually your tapering of your tang. I've never seen this before, and so I had to kind of get this. I had to at least mention this in the video of my unboxing of it. Was the tapering of this thing is, I'm looking at, the only other knife I've seen with a tapering tang is the Bob Kramer knives, and he goes from a tapering from the top of the tang down to the lower bottom. But you go from your profile this way is thick up here, then it tapers at the bottom, bottom side. So what inspired that design? Because that's something that is extremely unique, and I've never seen that in any other knife before.
Because if you think about it, like when you're cutting, all the weight is like kind of right there at the meat part of your hand, and I want everything to feel so light and also be different. And the way that I grind it, like I grind it all continuous, so I don't stop. Okay. Like, and it just kind of came to me like when you start. I think it started as I messed up. It was a mistake. Okay. Like so, and like I went too far in my plunge, like because I normally did plunge lines. Okay. And I'm saying like I don't want that, and it doesn't look good. So I just like, man, let me get it out, and then I noticed it was tapering the wrong way, and like I just kind of kept on doing that. Like, so it started off as a mistake. Wow.
Wow. So it was originally a plunge line design that messed up your handle. Yes. Wow. Okay. That's really cool. So God-given mistake right there. The second thing I've noticed is the curvature of the handle is actually it's. I hate to say the word amazing, but it's amazing. I mean, it's a very comfortable handle, and it's one of the when I don't know if you guys have you seen any of my reviews or not, but I always talk about one of the most important things with knives are handle shape, and I think there are so many manufacturers, big and small, that really miss that. So I just want to commend you on how comfortable the handle is. It's really nice especially for medium to smaller hands like myself. I have small hands. I can see this knife working with many hand sizes, especially those with smaller hands. That's something that people like me, we struggle finding really comfortable knives, and this is really nice. I also like the fact that it's got this beautiful kind of I wouldn't say hourglass, but a reverse hourglass shape, but it's not very bulby at the widest point of the knife. Which, if you I've critiqued. I think Bob Kramer knives handles are very nice, but I've always critiqued in many of my videos that the bulbiness of the center of his handles are very thick. Yeah. So I think that you've got a great winning combination between the tapering of the tang, the contours of the handle. It's really, really nice. And so your design. I mean, this is what I mean. If you talk to different people, whoever some people will say that this is a classic. This is more of a Western chef knife. I call this more of a kind of a hybrid profile where you have.
Japanese and European.
Yeah, and I really think it's beautiful. I mean, the fact that you've got this, it's essentially more or less a taller Sabatier kind of profile, which you don't really find. What inspired this specific design right here?
It started with the person Craig Deal. Like he loved Japanese knives, and me personally, I started to kind of drift to that area. Like, but I also love I love German knives also, but like the Japanese knives kind of stood out to me, and I kind of like took a little bit of the belly from the French knives or German knives, and kind of like I wanted to find a hybrid. I wanted to make my own because early on I copied all the Sabatiers. I've copied just about every knife you can name. I've copied. That's the only way that I could decide who I am as a knife maker, because I've learned each and everything from each knife that I copied. And I kind of like blended into that, and that's what I came up with.
Now, I really appreciate the fact that you actually are using the word copy, because I think a lot of knife makers don't admit that, and so I think it's really humble on your part to say that I've copied and then I've kind of replicated and then I took the best of what I thought I liked. So
Like
you know,
like no one person invented the knife.
yes, right.
It came over generations and decades and millennia.
Hmm.
Like so, no one really invented it. So um, just like when like the Ford, the Dodge, all these stuff, it came from somewhere.
Hmm.
So no one could. I invented it or I came up with it.
Yeah,
Like so, I'm a very humble guy. Like I took ideas from people
yeah,
and from learning to do those things from copying or replicating, I found myself.
yeah, yeah. I appreciate that honesty. I really do. So let's kind of. I have three of your knives here from the Echo line. I've got the Sentoku, the paring knife, the Sentoku. Another kind of honesty. I've never another me kind of pouring my heart out to you right now. I did the very first video I saw of you was posted I think like 3 to 4 weeks ago of you hammering was it Sentoku into a piece of wood? Okay, so it was this knife. Okay, very clever video by the way. I haven't tried to replicate that. I really like the fact that it's actually it's a 5.5 inch or so.
6 inch.
6 inch. Okay. So my math is bad. I really like I don't see many Sentokus with a kind of a gooseneck choil. That was a really interesting design. So was it because you're trying to keep the design of all your knives consistent, or did you really feel like you did? Okay.
No, it's trying to keep it consistent.
Okay. And then also examining the knife, there was one thing I've also noticed. You have an asymmetrical handle as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that was a mistake that you found out? Because I'm looking at the chef knife, and the chef knife actually has on the right side, the right scale, it's actually thicker than the left scale. But again, I can't really tell that holding it.
Mm-hmm.
So was that more of a design cue, or are all your knives intentionally offset like that?
No, it's how can I say it's. I'm not perfect.
Okay.
Like, and like it just little quirks.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong. Like, every knife that I make or every knife that I touch, it feels right in the hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like and sometimes like measuring can kind of take you off or artistically.
Mm-hmm.
Like so like be able to express yourself. And sometimes like if you look at nature, there's no straight lines in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Like but nature's flows and it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like and so my knives are just an extension of myself and my.
Yeah, it's not a complaint. I like I said, I love the handle. I think the handle is just absolutely amazing. So it wasn't a complaint at all on my part. It was just something like, hey, this actually looked like it was when I examine knives very closely, and and so when I looked at this thing, I was just like, well, that is actually very different. So with that said, your handle shaping, do you shape the handles once the do you put a whole piece of wood onto the tang, shape it that way, or do you pre-make everything?
No, everything is glued together,
and then you shape the handle. Oh, okay. So that that makes perfect sense. I mean, I think that's very nice. So obviously, I like the chef knife a lot. This here, it's beautiful, but I want to talk about the paring knife really quickly here. So I've gotten lots of, I would say, negative critiquing of my videos when I talk about paring knives, and here's why. One of my favorite paring knives, it has a thicker belly like yours. Thick. It's like a good, it's about at least an inch and a half thick in terms of its overall profile. It's the Dragon knife with the BDN. And so I said it was. My wife loves that knife, and I enjoy it. I don't use paring knives very much, but one of my comments on that knife was it was the only paring knife that my wife felt comfortable cutting onto the cutting board, because it actually had a thicker profile, and a thicker belly. Your knife also has a thicker profile and a very nice, girthy, thick profile. And so I don't want to say that you're kind of validating what I'm saying. Is why did you choose a thicker profile for a paring knife versus a very thin, half an inch profile?
The reason why, because from developing my knives in general, I watch a lot of people use petty knives and paring knives, and they are switching in between. Like, so I wanted to kind of put a blend between a petty and a paring, and also like when they're chopping garlic or chives, and doing little small finer works, like those little small knives get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, I want the at the end of the day, I want my end users to be very comfortable.
Yeah.
And like what I kind of came up with that paring knife.
Yeah, I mean, I love this design as a paring knife, and and so even though I'm taking a lot of heat for saying things like I like my paring knives thicker like this, I think this is a perfect design for a paring knife. It's a great blend between a petty, and a paring knife. And so, so I just want to thank you for kind of validating what I'm saying. People, I get, and I want to be completely honest. I'm not a trained chef. I am not like a great cook at all. I'm just an average cook. I'm a very average home user of a knife. I'm a very average knife sharpener. I don't know how my channel is kind of, where it is, but for some reason, I just want to be upfront, about that. So I really like this. I really like the way this looks. I really like the way it feels. Again, I've been using it in my home now for a little over a week, and my wife hasn't had a chance to use this knife yet, but I will definitely get her. I think certain knives, I'm gonna have her review knives with me, and I think this would be a lot of fun. So I love the profiling of this paring knife. You also added that that kind of like gooseneck choil as well. I think that's a really nice touch. Again, the handle. What's really interesting is your paring knife handle is not tiny, which I like. A lot of paring knives have these really thin, awkward handles. I really like the fact that this handle is almost the same size. I would say it's maybe 20-30% smaller than your chef knife.
Chef knife, yeah.
And so this was actually made in. So you glue this up the same way. You glue it up and then you shape it in your hand.
Right.
Wow. So this, I kind of I don't wanna like oversell this point, but this is what you would consider a mass production knife, right? This is your Echo line is more your your production knife, right? But the fact that knowing that it's handmade, the handle was made by hand, the blade was made by hand, it doesn't feel like a production knife. This is as close to what I can say or what I could consider a custom knife, because it really is. It wasn't customized for myself, but it was actually made one at a time.
Yes.
So I really appreciate that. What type of wood are you using on the Echo?
That one is the Diamond-Lux, or the diamond wood.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
It's basically pressed birch veneers.
Okay.
And it holds up a lot. I have a knife that I've put in the dishwasher just for test purpose, and just seeing how much it will hold up.
Yeah.
And they hold up really good, actually.
You put this in the dishwasher?
I don't advise it.
Okay. But you have done it. You have done it.
Yes.
Really, in the veneers?
It's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see how much cycles would it take for that knife to warp or to mess up or things like that.
So how many cycles did the handle survive? Do you recall?
It's going on about 30 cycles now.
30 cycles, and the rivets haven't kind of fallen off at all. Okay.
Those are Corby's.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
They're screwed on.
Oh, okay. Wow. Nice. Yeah. So I just want my audience to know that this wasn't a planned interview. It wasn't a scheduled interview or anything like that. You didn't get any questions from me. So from here, let's talk. I want to talk about your career a little bit. Where do you envision, yourself going? I know that you're a man of God, that He's speaking to you. So where do you see this happen? Like, where is it? Where is that? The river. Where is it moving you right now?
Well, the idea behind, I could have stayed a custom knife maker, and I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But my dream is to make a factory or basically manufacture my knives here, like in my community, employ people from my community, and basically breathe life back into that American dream.
Wow.
And it started somewhere, like Shun or Kershaw or whoever, like even the Dodge or BMW, Volvo, like it started in somebody's garage or some it was an idea first.
Yep.
Like so it took that one person to kind of be the grunt or push that dream. And for me, Echo is that push in that direction of producing knife in the U.S. and not say mass produce,
Yes.
but produce
Mm-hmm.
well-made knives, not from an engineer standpoint, from a knife maker standpoint, and understanding what a knife should be.
Okay. So this is gonna get personal. Where is that dream right now? How have you, what steps have you taken to get there? What's it looking like?
So basically, right now, like I'm at like metaphorically, I'm at a cliff, and I'm getting ready to jump. But before I jump, I want to make sure that I have everything in order.
Okay.
So I haven't really full on jump.
Yeah.
I'm preparing, and I'm getting stuff put in place first before I take that really big plunge.
Mm. Okay. So how many knives have you sold before you actually made the Echo line?
Ooh, I sold a lot of knives. Like I've failed on knives.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like I've made a lot of knives. I've kind of grown my brand a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and like I've done all right.
Okay. Okay. And then the Echo line's been around for how long?
Oh, only a few months.
A few months. So who carries the Echo right now for you?
Like right now is Cutlery Moore,
Uh-huh.
and myself. These are the only people that
So two
at this
distributors.
point-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
like that right now. So
Okay. Is that something you're hoping to expand, or do how many other retailers do you think you want to have the Echo line carried in?
um enough where I can deliver on my promise.
Mm-hmm.
Like until I'm able to grow, then I can reach out more. Because the thing about success is if you overpromise and underdeliver, you're doomed to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think as I'm very curious about things like this, and so if you were to teach me to make a knife, how
Mm-hmm.
long would it take for me to actually be able to? And let's say the goal is to make only the Echo, right? How long would it take someone, an average person like myself, an average learner, to actually reproduce this knife right here, the way it is that you can say, we can probably sell?
To be honest, I'll never tell someone if you want to become a knife maker, don't ever think about selling a knife.
Okay.
Like don't put that in your mind. Like learn the craft first.
Yeah.
Like love the craft.
Well,
love
yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Like, you're saying you want to train people. How
Mm-hmm.
long do you think the apprenticeship period would actually be?
This one, like for the Echo line, it will be I'm sorry, I got distracted. The I would say maybe about a few weeks to get the understanding of how to assemble the knife
Mm-hmm.
and how to get proficient in doing your task. But it's going to take some years to really get really good.
Right. Yeah, because I think that's what I want to get to as you've been doing this entire process for 15 years. This is the culmination of 15 years of work, right?
Yes.
But if you were to somehow disseminate all that information, all that experience, into a person, into a process, right? Because that's what you didn't have before. You didn't have a process getting to this. Like, no one said you have to do this. You learn everything in different orders, right? And so for you to actually train a team of people, I think, it might be, like I said, might be a few weeks, one person doing one task. And that's actually, that's amazing that a person off the streets, can actually come and within a month, within 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
be a part of a process that can put together this knife. I think that's it sounds really impressive, I want to be a part of that somehow, eventually, maybe one day.
Okay.
I know,
Come on down, man.
This
Come on down.
is your dream to get on perfection, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Quinton, I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's been a few minutes now. I really, really appreciate your time, and I just want to say thank you for your humbleness. Thank you for sharing your word. That the fact that this was a dream given to you by God. I think that it's amazing, and I really liked these knives. Just my initial impressions of using them for a very short amount of time. I really believe that these are some of the best knives that you can buy at the prices that you're charging for these. I think that's fantastic. I really hope that the business grows for you. And hopefully my viewers will appreciate your knives as well. And again, this wasn't a planned interview. This wasn't a,
Well, if you don't mind, can I say something to your viewers if they don't mind?
Yeah, totally.
But to all of Rick's viewers, man, I want to encourage somebody. Like if you're an entrepreneur or dreaming to be an entrepreneur, sometimes it just takes that believing in yourself or believing in your dream first. Don't fall for the okie doke and thinking that it can't happen. It can happen to you, because I'm doing it. All you gotta do is put the work in. So that's it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Another question before we go. How many, I noticed that you only have, and I don't want to say only as in it's a bad thing, but you have one chef knife design, right? You're not, that's something I really like, is your simplicity, is you want to perfect this one knife.
Yes.
And I really like that. I visited your website not like a few days ago just to see it really quickly, and I noticed that you only have one chef knife design. I think that's very smart. I think that's like, I think a lot of people, even myself, is we kind of want to expand, we want to make as many things as possible. But the fact that I have 3 knives here, and I really see it's a really well finished product, and it's a product that is really well thought out. I think you've examined every inch of this knife, and you've put together. I can't see a knife that is actually better assembled, better quality. The well thought out profile. I think you've done an amazing job with the Echo line, and just I think your Middleton knives in general is, I think, a really commendable product that you've put together. So,
thank you.
And I'm hoping to receive some more knives from you. I'm not just, I can't be happy with just one Echo here, guys. Come on. This is, yeah, I'm gonna have to order a couple knives from you for myself. So maybe a perfection edition.
Okay, we can make it happen, man.
Well, listen, I know it's a Sunday. Thank you for being here. Thank you for talking, and hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Quintin. This is Quintin from Middleton Knives. Thank you, Quintin, for your time. God bless you, my friend.
And God bless you, man.
All right, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
All right,
bye. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the interview, and Quintin is a really, really nice guy, such a cool guy, and he's very inspiring what he's doing and what his goals are for his company. I think that it's a really fantastic vision he has, and let me show you guys the knives real quickly here. So this here is the 8-inch version of the knife. It is absolutely beautiful and just really nice. I mean, everything about this knife I really like. The tapering, the distal tapering of the spine, very aggressive at about the halfway point, as we have mentioned in the video. The gooseneck choil is very comfortable for your middle finger to hold on to. The tapering and the contouring of his handles are really something special. These, like I said, these are pretty much, in my opinion, some of the most, if not the most comfortable handle I've ever held on a production knife. Like I said, this is not a custom-made knife, but it definitely very, very customized. It feels very customized for me, with a person with smaller hands. But very, very nicely put together. No rattles anywhere on the handles, on the rivets. I mean, just very well put together. Here's the asymmetrical handle I was talking about. So you can see the scale on my right. It's actually a little bit thicker than the scale on the left. And at first I thought that was actually a design cue, but apparently he admitted that it was an accident in production, or not necessarily an accident, but just the fact that these are handmade. That not everything is perfect, and not everything is made in an assembly line. So you would expect things like this to be apparent. There's also some hammer marks on the spine, which looks interesting as well. So I really like the fact that you can really see the craftsmanship of this knife left on the knife, and it's not polished out. And he's not trying to make these knives perfect. He's just trying to make the best knives that he can, and you definitely see that with these knives. So this is an 8-inch version here of his knife. Very nice. He's using AEBL steel, which to me it's actually a pretty decent steel, and I've found it to be fairly responsive on the cutting stone, and it holds a decent edge. I don't know exactly what the heat treatment of these knives are, but I probably should research that as well, but I apologize that I did not. But I have found that it's on par with the decent steels out there that I have used. I love the profile of this knife. This hybrid profile here, this Sabatier-like profile, but a little bit taller than an average Sabatier. The polishing of the choil and the spine also very well done. So this is the chef knife. This is definitely going into my kitchen and is going to stay in my kitchen for a little while. I really like his knives. I think that they are very unique products, and the fact that these aren't custom handles or custom knives, but they really feel like they are, that really speaks well, in my opinion, of the quality of knives that he's making. So Quintin, you've made a really nice chef knife. Let me show you the other knives that he has here. This is the paring knife. I really like this knife here. And some of you guys have been giving me hard comments and kind of even hateful comments about paring knives are not supposed to be thick in the profile. This is a really thick profile for a paring knife, and I like it. I think this is one of the best paring knives I have used. Really nice and light, very nimble. The handle also really nice too. It doesn't have a very skinny handle, unlike a lot of paring knives that I have used. This handle is nice and full, nice and girthy, very, very close in terms of overall size as the chef knife, which in my book definitely a plus there. But again, the profile of this knife, very thick, nice tall profile. I enjoy that a lot. I think this is going to be probably my wife's new favorite paring knife. She hasn't used it yet. She's actually been away for a few days, so she's definitely going to see this knife and she's going to love it. I can guarantee you that now. But I'm going to have her do a review of this paring knife. You guys will hear from her what she actually thinks about it. Let me grab the Santoku and talk about the Santoku real quickly here. So this is a Santoku. It's a 6-inch Santoku. Very nice. The handle on this actually might even be thicker or just as thick as the chef knife. It's actually a little bit thicker. It's actually a slightly thicker handle. It's a shorter handle by maybe it's about the same size handle. It's actually more stout of a handle, which is interesting, and it actually fits with the way that the profile of the Santoku is. So shorter spine, but it elongates in the blade area. So interesting design there. I actually like it. I actually, I haven't used this one much. I've only used it once in my home, because I don't really use Santokus all that much. But I will have this as a full-time review knife in my kitchen for about a month. Of all three knives will be the test knife in my home. Again, the handle, very comfortable handle. This is actually even more stout. Like I said, more stout than the chef knife. And I actually like this handle. Maybe even, I wouldn't say it's actually better, but it definitely fits this knife profile better. The handle on the chef knife is really fantastic. It just fits just right. Yeah, it's got a nice curvature to the spine, which is interesting. It's something I don't see very often, or something I have not seen very often. So very, very sexy, a very sexy Santoku, I've got to admit. Again, using the same steel, the AEBL. He's got a gooseneck choil here. Also very nicely polished as well. So definitely a kind of, like I said, all of his knives that I have used are really well thought out. That he's not trying to make a whole lot of product. He's just making the best that he can of each knife design, and I think that's a really smart way of going about this. Yeah, I mean the handle, I cannot speak enough of the handle. And again, this is also this is pretty close to symmetrical on both sides, but you can tell that you can definitely see that these are hand grounded. They are just off by like a half a millimeter or so in terms of difference in thickness. And again, this is, you are holding a handmade knife. Everything from the handle to the blade is handmade, and I really appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, this is as a lineup, as a chef knife, a paring knife, and a Santoku. I think that the Echo lineup has really done. I mean, Quintin has really put together a compelling package for the Echo lineup here. I really cannot speak enough of his knives. I like him, as you guys can tell. I'm a huge fan of his knives. I'm hoping to get some more, and I probably will have to pick up, pay him to make me a couple of custom knives for myself to use, because I think his knives are definitely worth owning. The video is probably gonna get a bunch of thumbs down for the poor quality and the impromptu-ness of it, but I really enjoyed the fact that we had a really great conversation. Really got to know Quintin a little bit, and I like that. I'm hoping to meet him sometime, and I really would love to just sit down and talk to him, maybe spend a couple days and just spend a couple days in his shop and see how he works. I think that would be really fun. But thumbs up if you guys like the idea. You know, I am willing to actually travel out there and meet him, and I've been thinking about doing something a little bit different on my channel as well. I've been really contemplating. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of confessions. I have always wanted to be a food reviewer. Growing up, I've always seen those stickers or those Zygot reviews, and I said, man, it'd be so cool one day to be a food reviewer and get free meals at restaurants. But I'm not expecting anything for free. I'm thinking of two things. So I want to hear your idea on two things. First, I do want to do a food vlog on Perfection, but it's not going to be any food vlog. I'm not going to go to any random food location or random restaurant and just eat and just talk about the food. Wherever you are, whether you're in Los Angeles, Nebraska, Chile, Switzerland, wherever, let me know where you work, and I want to do like a food vlog where I travel around the country, around the world. I think that would be a really fun thing. And then while I'm actually out there, I'll do some vlogs of like the city of me traveling as well. But if you guys like that idea, let me know in the comments. I definitely want to hear from you. But if you guys want to have more custom knife makers featured on Perfection, give the video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments that you guys want to meet more people like that. I want to meet more people like that, and I would love to have you guys come on board and go on these journeys with me where I can meet custom knife makers in their studio, see how they work, look at really unique looking knives. I think that would be really great. So let me know what you guys think of those two ideas, and let's add some flavor to Perfection. We gotta have some food in here too. If I meet you in your restaurant, if you're a chef, I don't care if you're a chef or a line cook, give me a lesson on knife control, knife tips, and want to see what you guys use. I don't know. I think this can really go to many different places, and it could be really different, and I can really learn a lot, because I'm really an amateur when it comes to knives, and I'm an amateur when it comes to food and food culture, and I just want to learn more. I've got some supporters on Patreon which will help pay for these things, so I can't do them very often, but I do have people who are supporting me on Patreon that will help make this happen. If you guys like that idea, hop onto my Patreon page, consider being a supporter of me on Patreon. Whether you guys support me or not, I still will want to make these two ideas happen. So at my current support level on Patreon, I can do this sort of a trip maybe once every 3 months or so. But if my support grows, I can probably do once a month or once every other month, whatever it may be. But if you guys like the idea of one and you guys want to support me on this endeavor, please consider going to Patreon and looking at supporting me there. If not, you guys will still see the content that I'll be putting out. You just won't see them very frequently, but you guys will still see the same content. And yeah, so that will be it for this video. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll catch you in the next video.